Let's look at variable declaration, scope, comments, and code style. So what is a variable declaration? We've seen in a previous section that a variable has three characteristics. It has a name, it has a type, and it has a value. So each three of these characteristics we specify in a variable declaration when we declare a variable to be used. So here you see some examples of a declaration. So we declare a Boolean variable with the name closed. Yeah, the name is red, the type is blue. And then we assign a value saying closed, takes the value of true. So here we see a variable declaration and an assignment that together give the three characteristics to a variable. Name in red, type in blue, value in green. Here you see another declaration that immediately initializes a variable. We say we declare the variable with name interest. It has type float and we want to initialize it immediately to the value 0. So this is a variable declaration. So every variable has a scope. The scope refers to where this variable can be used in a program, where it can be seen. And where it can be seen, it can be accessed by other elements of the program. So a variable is only visible to statements if it's inside the scope. And the scope depends on where it was declared. So we can declare it within one method, we can declare it within a whole class, or within a whole package. So we can indicate when we declare a variable what we want its scope to be. So let's look at some other things we need to know when we're programming. So for example, comments. When you program, you can document your program with comments. And comments are important because if you explain in your comments what the code does, this allows others or yourself to understand what the code does. Who wrote it and when you wrote it and why you wrote it. So comments are lines in programs that are ignored by the compiler entirely. So you can put whatever. Here are some examples of comments and the way they look in different programming languages. So you can use this style of comments. You can use this, another comment looks like that, or you can put it like that. This is text that is completely ignored by the compiler, and here we can put whatever we see fit to explain what our code does. So comments are sort of dummy code, because it's not real code that is being used by the compiler to go to the solution of your problem. It's just there for other purposes. And note that we can also use this commenting to comment out some code. So imagine that you temporarily want to make some lines of code not being executed. So instead of removing them, we just comment them out. That's the way it's called. We put them into comments, the compiler ignores them completely, and we can execute our program without including the execution of these lines. So finally, let's look a little bit on programming style. Programming style refers to the way a programmer programs, how his programs look. So for example, the way you use spaces, the way you use indentation, blank lines, punctuation, characters, and also names of variables. How you all do this determines the style of your programming. Note that this has nothing to do with syntax, because syntax are the rules that say when specific statements are correct. Style is about how your program looks. So the general rule to have good style programs is make it easy to read for others. Make self-explanatory explanatory names for variables and write comments. Comment your code to indicate what it's doing. That's good programming style. So in the next part, we'll look on program control structures.